been so long.
It's been a while.
Wow, Nancy, glad to see you again.
So happy to see you.
I said, oh my God, I didn't miss this guys for a month already. It's glad to be here with you. You know, we're soft lighters. We also always keep things soft for you. It's a pleasure. Good afternoon.
How you doing, Fakitama?
Is it not just my old normal self? Nancy, it's just me. Thank God for life. Thank God for everything, you know.
Thank God for life.
Yeah, thank God for life, for everything.
You know, yesterday we spoke with Eddie where we said we should not be asking people, how are you doing? I forgot. The normal way to say the greeting now is, I trust you're coping well.
Okay, okay.
Because, you know, it's better.
Trust you're coping well.
Because we know almost everybody is going through one challenge or the other.
Don't even go there. I don't want to talk about it, you know. We just find ourselves moving on, doing things like we normally do, and it looks as if everything is fine. And you see people moving. Sometimes I start to smile. If God is so wonderful.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even know how they cope. You know, it's at the time I just said, God, everything is fine, it's in your hands. Whatever they're doing, I don't. Since you've given me life, water.
So today is World Food Day. Happy World Food Day.
Happy World Food Day to the wrong person. You are the wrong person.
Me, right?
I like food.
You like food?
Not much, but I want
like
to
food.
eat.
I like food too, but I like food actually, but it's just that I'm not the foodie. I'm not the food type. Yeah. You know, when I sit down and see people prep for food, like they go to the market, they buy things, buy this, buy this, buy this. They come, I want to cook this, I want to cook this. You know, I begin to wonder.
What's wrong with you?
What is all this? You know, it's not me. I just have to do this because, you know, you have kids.
Yeah.
They have to eat. And they have to eat varieties. So I try my best to do this. But while I was in school, food was not my thing. Food was not my thing. I go to classes, I come back, I think of what to eat. I can just end up eating just a pack of noodles for the day. I was not just a foodie. So coming into marriage and I have to begin to prep this. It was a big challenge for me. It was a big challenge for me, I tell you.
Wow. I can say I'm a food person. I don't eat much.
Okay.
You know. Growing up with my parents was a very amazing moment in our lives. My parents are very good. They really exposed us to food. Higher lives, the things you like. I know my children to me as a senior police officer. So we had a lot of fun as children. But when I got married, I didn't have the money to do that for my own kids.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I get it.
You understand? I didn't. Tried as much as I can. Ice cream. Oh, let's go and buy the least one there. You understand? And whatever I give to them is what they take. They don't complain.
Yeah. Those are good children.
Yeah, they never complain. So food is something that is very important to man. It's very, very important. If you look at the structure of our intestines, you must eat. You must digest. You must poo-poo. Sorry. So it's good to have food. It's good to have variety, but eat in bits.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what do you say about diabetics? That you just have to select your food. Or some of us are very, very stubborn. You still want to eat everything.
But in little
proportions, and you take your medications. You understand? So it's good to eat, but a lot of people eat a lot. Yeah. A lot of people cannot even control.
But I'm not sure we still have people who eat a lot in this situation, this economic hardship. No, everybody has cut. No, there's no way you will tell me people still eat like 3 square meal. Who does that? 3 square meal, who does that now? There
are some people that have been so spoiled, they cannot adjust. Instead of that, I say, let me sip 1 cup of Gary, 1.5 cups of Gary with groundnuts. So fill up.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a nice
to think that we even have a day, specifically for food.
Yeah, for food, to think about it, because it's very, very important.
Yeah, it's important.
Yes, it's very, very
All right,
important.
so happy World Food Day
to you
World Food
Day to you out there.
Yeah, if you're not a foodie, well, we're on the same boat. I'm not a foodie. We'll go on a very short break, and when we'll come back, we'll introduce our guests as well as our topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
No matter wetin I see, enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people dey talk.
You know wetin dey worry you, but you no go fit take help yourself.
In this kind of situation now, what if they really no talk to una? Wetin be the way forward?
They go bury our chairman on Thursday. We go remain here.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we no dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to know the grave of his child.
The bank manager, the bank executive, they are the one the government should first face.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 p.m. on top ADBN TV.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
All right, thank you for being there and welcome back. So welcome to today's special episode where we confront the uncomfortable truth about people we invite into our homes, trusting them with our loved ones and valuables. Join us as we explore the complex world of domestic workers in Nigeria and uncover the challenges, exploitation, and triumphs that shapes their lives. With us today to do this discussion, this great discussion, something that has been on in fact, most of my friends always talk about this issue. And I keep saying, okay, don't worry, one day we'll talk about it. We'll bring an expert to discuss it. So today we have with us Owen Victory. He's the CEO of Valley Gacy Enterprise. Is it Valley Gacy or Valley Gacy Enterprise? Yes. All right. So
you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm more happy than you to have you here because this topic, it's I don't know, but it has been on the lips of a lot of people lately.
Sure.
The things domestic workers do. Sometimes we tend to look at it from one angle. People say these people are evil. The domestics, as if they come with one kind of evil. So nobody's taking a look at those employers, the side of the employers. We're all talking about the workers themselves. So I'm glad you're here today. So you're going to debunk a lot of myth I think we have. So let's start this way. I'm going to start with asking you to give us some kind of story of, triumph or a kind of problem you've had with a domestic worker, if there is any.
All right. Thank you. Greetings to all the viewers out there. Firstly, I will say this. When it comes to domestic workers, you need to understand that they are humans.
Exactly.
And the human nature is very dynamic, meaning you should expect a lot of things from people. you know. So when you get someone into your home, there is bound to be some frictions and all of that with domestic staff. And most of them can just, you know, misbehave because maybe prior to that time, they have not done that before. And they might just, you know, begin to act the way they know. Our own skill, we might all feel that there's a different perspective to what is right, you know, based on our own backgrounds. So some of these staff now, their level of exposure is what causes some of the things they do. Yes, we've had challenges, a couple of challenges with some of these domestic staff. And some of them, you know, they might just abscond, you know, just abscond. You will be lucky if they did not even abscond with your property. Because sometimes they might just live with your property and that's it. Sometimes they might just, you know, commit one atrocity or the other and just leave the home like that. And then it's now putting your family in a tight corner. So that's some of the challenges we actually have with domestic staff.
Okay. I wanted a personal experience, if you have any, you know, stories.
Yes. Okay. I have a lot of stories. Okay. So I'm actually trying to browse through which I should place here right now. Okay. So we've had a case where we sent someone to a house. Okay. And when we sent the person to the house, you know, we pay our staff very well. We make sure they are comfortable because we don't want to give you any reason whatsoever to misbehave while carrying out your duties. So after sending her to the job, we started noticing some kind of things. She became insolent. Even when we were calling to reach out to her, and we're wondering what's actually happening. You know, what's actually happening? What's giving her the guts? What's giving her the morale to, you know, behave this way? And subsequently, you know, they say nothing is hidden under the sun. So later it unraveled and we discovered that she was having an affair with the man in the house. And so when the woman reached back to us, that's the wife of her host, reached out to us, she was like, I asked for a domestic staff, not a co-wife.
Oh, goodness.
You know, and it was very embarrassing on our own part, you know, because I expected to give professionalism or render professionalism to our clients. And, you know, having that was like a really big setback for us. So that was just like one of the numerous experiences we've had.
And how did you handle that case?
Honestly, when it becomes things that concerns emotions, we actually had to sack her. Yes, we actually had to sack her. We apologized to the wife it was a family affair, so we didn't really want to escalate, you know, and all of that too.
Okay. Yes. All right. Thank you, Mama.
Yeah. You know, each time I hear about domestic workers, I try to look at them from two perspectives. You know, like personal domestic worker, husband, family, domestic worker, small family. And the one that is a bit extended, you know, like the one you just mentioned from a company, they now have a domestic worker to run around the affairs of. In that case of, like the one you just talked about, what actually is the work, the activities in the home of this domestic worker? Let's not talk about the personal, small family. Let's just skip that yet. But I really want to know what specifically are the activities in this form.
Okay, so what you're asking is what the domestic staff is supposed to be doing.
In this particular type of environment, not the single family and all that, but like you just gave, what are they supposed to do? Okay,
well, the domestic staff, their job description, it's quite different. Okay. You know, it depends the particular home. You know, people have areas where actually you are paying so that this person can sit in for you where you're not, because now people are busy. We know people are doing 2-3 jobs and all of that now. So basically, the jobs of domestic staff would include maybe cleaning up the house, sometimes cooking or assisting in the kitchen, you know, and also some help assist, take the children to school, take them back from school also. Then they do the runs, the market runs, and all those kind of errands as well. And they could also help you in a lot of ways, maybe helping you. They can act as secretaries, you know, if they are properly trained. They can act like secretaries in the home, whereby they just give you, maybe help you out with some things, like remind you of things you're supposed to do, and
like
all, so that
kind of
yes, that, so they can help you out in those ways. So that's just like the basics for them.
Yeah.
But if you have like maybe something more you want them to do, you just explain it to them too. But like for that, that's just the basics, you know, cleaning and running of errands in the home.
Okay.
Yes.
So since you run this agency, so I'm sure you must have come in contact with so many problems, you know, with these domestic workers. So let's just talk about some of the common challenges faced by, you know, domestic workers in Nigeria that you think.
Okay, the challenges the domestic workers face or the people hosting them?
No, the domestic workers themselves.
Okay. Well, you know, some people, I told them they need to understand that domestic staff are actually humans. Most people don't treat them as humans. Yes, you see, sometimes you come online, you see some people always trying to castigate what happened to the domestic staff, you know, how the domestic staff treated them and all. But you need to understand that there is a source, you know, there is a reason for that action.
Okay.
Yes, I know there are people who are just naturally wicked, let me put it that way.
Or saucy or something.
Yes, but there are people too who they are only trying to like just react over what they have been taking in for long. You know, they just want to vent. And most of these, it comes as a result of maybe they have been maltreating them at home. And there are people who tend to punish you with food.
Yeah.
Yes, and one common mistake people make too is they don't allow domestic staff to maybe take breaks. It's very, very important. Yes, like my agency, that's what we do. They must have 2 days off monthly. It's very, very important because those breaks help them to reset. You know, unlike the conventional jobs where you just come in, and when you come in like that, you know you are bathing, you take your breakfast, and you are moving to the office. The domestic staff, the house is your work. So already, you might feel like, it's, you know, I'm just here. So you might have some of those people just maybe behaving in a particular way. Yes. Because the orientation of a job should be, I should step out of the house.
Okay.
So you now may not understand that, because at that incipient stage now, there's bound to be friction, especially when a domestic staff just comes to your house, you know. So it takes patience, you know, tolerance. You don't need to actually be harsh on the person. So once you begin to get harsh with the person like that, you begin to have the person misbehave. So most of them, that's the basic challenge they have. Once you don't, and they don't have someone they can communicate with. You know, there are people who seize domestic staff their phones. You know, they seize their phones and don't give them access.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
So I'm not giving you access in my home. You don't use phones here. So they don't just even call family members and all of that too. So it affects them psychologically, and then they begin to feel like this is somewhat like a prison. Yes, not a job.
So what?
Okay.
So what about a situation where you, as an agency, you're running for companies, you're running for families, bigger families, and don't you have an orientation for them before you send them to their, like the one you just said, you get up in the morning, you don't know, you're thinking, oh, this is a new house, let me just wait before I'm told what to do. While you have released them into these places, don't you have any orientation? Like a domestic worker just coming into the house, okay, you started work, this way you're working, and you're coming, oh, Oga, this is Abigail. Madam, this is Abigail. This is what she's supposed to be doing. She knows her work. She does this. She's had 3 years experience. Abigail, I'm sure you're going to be able to please your, this is what she's expected of you. Clean the house, keep the children fine, make their breakfast, serve a gas breakfast if madam wants you. You know what I'm talking about. You enlist a lot of things. So that when they just come and don't come and sit down in a parlor watching television, waiting for an errand to be given out. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, because sometimes like he's just saying, some of them might be shy, some of them might not. Don't you give them a sensitization? Now, this place you're going, this is how much you're going to be paid. So you need to be up and doing.
Yes.
Okay, so.
Well, I was speaking on a general note. You know, either you're going to pick a domestic staff or getting from, you know, a company. Now, I'll speak for my own agency because I don't know about others, but this is how we operate. You know, we are not agents where we just send people like that. You know, you just pay us for that and we send. These are our staff.
Okay.
So meaning we actually train them before we send them out. Yes. And so we are responsible for whatever mishap that occurs, you know, in the house. So that's how we operate. We don't just send them like that. Definitely, we see them as our ambassadors. You know, so we believe that the work they put in would portray the company in good light. So if they should go and do something bad there, it will fall back to the company. So we always ensure that we orientate and reorientate them when necessary before we send them in to the homes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So this is for the domestic staff now.
Yes.
Now, talking about the employer, how can the employer ensure fair treatment to domestic staff?
All right. Employers, actually, to ensure fair treatment to your domestic staff, you need to look first at their own human rights. You know, there are people who they feel once I'm bringing a domestic staff, this person is less of a human. You know, if you go to some people's homes, you see their domestic staff smelling like a combination of garlic and onions. You know, that's what it is. So most people, they are very unfair to their domestic staff. Now, this is the way you can actually address this. Firstly, you need to ensure that you properly feed the domestic staff. And also, you should be accessible. You should be accessible. The domestic staff, you should have a relationship. I don't say you're bringing yourself down to the person's level in quotes, but what I'm saying is you should be someone they can talk to. It's just like kids. When it comes to like the father and the mother, some kids have preferences. You know, I do something bad, I can talk to my dad about it, but I can't talk to my mom about it. Yeah, so you should be that kind of a person, especially with your domestic staff. And that's the reason because most of those domestic staff you see, or all of them rather, they have access to your edibles. They have access to your private space. So it's only wisdom. It's only wisdom for you to actually give them, you know, that space, you know, that welcoming, you know, environment for them to be able to thrive. Now that's one. And two, also, you have to look at not keeping them very late up. Now about stories, there is a client we had. She wakes the domestic staff around let's say 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, and she says, feed my children, and they're twins. And the girl will always call and say, I'm even feeding the kids, and they're like, they are not even awake. And she said that she doesn't want her children to lose weight, you know. And for someone like me, to be honest, I'm this kind of person who, if you wake me up at night, I will have serious issues sleeping back. My brain just goes to work and start calculating everything. So most times when you do that to them, you know, you keep them up very late, or you don't even allow them sleep at all, it affects their proficiency. So you have to be in a situation whereby you always, or put them in a position whereby they always have their rest when due.
You know, I just wonder why we tend to treat these people differently. You know, I don't know. These are also humans like us now.
Of course,
so
of course.
What is the difference? The difference, just because they are there to work for you, doesn't make them become robots. You know, talking about robots, there's this trend on social media now where they are trying to replace domestic workers with robots. You know, they told me about it. I was like, how is it even possible? Are you even considering that?
Well, for everything, there'll always be a challenge. For every invention, there'll always be a challenge. Trust me.
Okay.
I thought they had even started already.
Yeah, well, they've started. We saw the trends, and funny enough, the robots were black skinned, so it's a kind of racism according to them. Well, that is social media.
They started.
So you know,
you said something. Sorry, you said something about the domestic workers and why they are treated that way. Now, I'll give you an example. You know, when clients come to us, we discuss with them first, so that we can know what they want before we send someone in. Now, most of them, you know, they have had domestic staff before. You know, and then some of them now might have been very, you know, jovial, playing with the person, you know, and then they now feel like, okay, this person now did something, even after what I did. You know, I took this person on vacation, I was feeding this person very well. But yes, this is what this person still did after all of this, you know. So most of them will now decide to put up a new attitude, you know, for the next domestic worker coming in. See, maybe possibly if I become hardened, you know, this person is going to know, yes, and now know that, okay, these are boundaries. But there's how you can communicate boundaries to a domestic staff without you being, you know, rigid. You can still communicate boundaries to them, and they will perfectly understand that. Now, psychological study has shown that when you administer punishment for maybe an act someone commits, it doesn't yield results as for you to, should I use the word gifts, you understand, or appreciate someone. You know, sometimes people think it's like kids. It's like kids. You know, kids now having children. You see that children, when you beat them, most times it doesn't stop them from committing a crime. They only look for smarter ways of doing the crime without getting caught. So that's the same with domestic staff. So most of them, I believe if you're working with your domestic staff, you should work in a way whereby they can actually do what you want them to do even when you're not around. So being hard on them like that, that will just be pretense, you know. They'll just be putting up like they're working and all, but immediately you step out of there, you know, you won't find them doing what they are supposed to do again. So you should make the person love the job and they should be able to work. So most of them now, they just become too rigid, you know, and they put up the attitude. You know, some will even want to go as far as hitting them. Yes, just to make them know their place, you know, but that's not what it's supposed to be actually.
All right, so let's talk about fair compensation now and then benefits. You know, because I know a lot of people talk about, you know, how to pay some of this domestic staffers. Yeah, I know some people get them from agencies, you know, they pay to the agencies. So because of this, even when somebody does something extraordinary, you know, something somebody is supposed to be rewarded.
Yes.
Take off the, like in your job place, sometimes you could get a pay rise, sometimes you could get some compensation for good jobs being done, but just because they are being paid, you know, some person saying, well, there's no need for this. So I want to talk about that, compensations, and then job security. You know, they come and go anytime they like. You know, I have a friend who has this problem. She takes them, she brings them in, but they live like this, you know, 1 month, 2 months, and they're gone. So how do you, you know, try to curtail this living impromptu like that without prior informing your employer?
Okay, I'll address the last one you just spoke about now.
Okay.
You know, like I said, the human nature is dynamic. You know, like most of the domestic staff, you know, are usually females. They are usually females, and they might just have one young boy somewhere at one street there deceiving them. Most times these things happen, you know, they just step out of the house, you know, one day, and the guy promises them heaven and earth, and then they now begin to see themselves that they're already seeing you with a family, you have your family, you have their kids, and they are now thinking, am I going to do this job? And I will not also have my own family and kids. You know, they are watching, you know, so they would want to also experience what you are experiencing too. So you might have that happening where they will just step out of the house, you know, without informing
the employer.
Yes. Now, that is why it's best if you're getting from an agency. Now, that's because, like, in our own case now, we have rules and regulations that you must abide with. We can run an arrest. Yes, we can run an arrest because someone is paying for services because they are not available, meaning you should be available. So you don't just wake up one morning and you leave. Another thing I said, like I pointed earlier to, it's something they have accumulated over time. Maybe there's something they're going wrong that they're not really talking about. Like in the case of your friend, what I would really advise, if she were to be here or she's listening now to the program, I would say that you have to look, you know, run introspection, you know, look at what you have been doing wrong. You know, because having everybody, they say when you're having issues with everybody, the issue is not everybody, it's you. Yes. So you have to look at yourself and say, okay, what have I been doing wrong? How have I been approaching this? You need to try different approach, you know. Yes, you need to try different approach. You can't just put everything on a straight line. There is no straight line when it comes to handling issues. You know, you have to, you use your judgment call. You look at the situation there, and then you now know how you can actually fit in.
All right, so Funky Mama, I'm coming. Let me just follow up with this. You know, I know of a situation where somebody gets this domestic, not from agencies, you know, they bring them in and then they make them sign an undertaking. That before you leave, you have to give me at least a month's notice. So what's your take on this? Do you guys also do this, or do you encourage such undertakings?
Yes, definitely. You know, like in our own case now, we already have a guarantor from you, like a family member. You know, so
when you abscond, they go for...
Definitely they'll go in. So the person will be like your legal advisor, advising you not to leave, because they know the repercussions, you know, when you should leave like that without informing us. So you need to, like now we have a lot of staff So it's easier for us. Once you tell us, okay, I'll be leaving this period, we just simply get a replacement, call our client, you meet up with the person, and then we just send the person in. So that way it makes the work easier. Yes. But if you're just going to get the person from a family, trust me, that's one issue I always tell our clients. There is always this emotional blackmail, this sentiment. When you get someone from the family, the person will be explaining what you have been doing to her or him. Won't be telling them what they have been doing to you. So you'll be hearing things like, they gave the children full chicken, my own, they gave me just the lap, or they didn't even give me at all. And I was only the one who washed all the plates, and all of that. And then rice. Emotions will now be there. So, these people, God will judge them. This is how rich people behave. They'll always want to oppress you and all of that. So that's what happens. So it's very simple. It's best you always get them from an official source. Yes, it's always best that it's safer that way. Let me put it. It's safer that way.
Thank you, Mama. Before you come in, let's go on a very short break and then we'll come back with you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It is Groovy Mono, aka the Steve's Prince.
Yo, what's up? It's Big Shags. I'm in London.
Hey guys, I'm Princess Jekoko. My name is Mutale Mwanza, the Queen of Zambian Media.
My name is Grand Prince Itek. Hi guys, my name is Baj Adibule. I'm an actor and a filmer.
Hello guys, I'm Falagade Banks.
My name is Kelechi Amadiobi, photographer, storyteller.
My name is Lanradi Dura, I'm an actor.
My name is Chidi Mokime.
Hi, my name is Uche Uba.
It's TV season.
I'm Miss Thames.
Hi ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mamas and papas, I am Jimmy. You can call me the Entertainer.
My name is Esio Dometa. I am an actor and a film producer.
My name is Sovic Ruvana.
Hi. My name is Julius the Genius. I would give a shout out to ADBN.
Big shout out to ADBN TV.
You're watching ADBN.
And you are watching.
Keep watching ADBN TV.
And this is ADBN TV.
And this is a shout out to ADBN TV. Keep watching, don't switch.
And you're watching ADBN.
A shout out to
ADBN TV.
And shout out to ADBN TV.
One time.
ADBN. Keep watching. I love you and kisses.
Keep watching ADBN.
And a special shout out to ADBN. Keep doing what you're doing, guys.
Please don't touch that dial.
Stay groovy.
Mwah.
Hey, Bobby.
Ha!
It's a shout out to ADBN.
ADBN. Advocate Broadcasting Network.
All right, thanks for being there. So we're still discussing domestic staff, and we have Mr. Owen with us in the studio. But before we come to Mr. Owen, let's take this tweet from social media. We have this one here from Togan Girl. She says, pay your domestic workers well. If she works overtime, pay for it. Pay their NHIF and NSSF, review their salaries, honor their time off and annual leave. If you get a 13th check, so should she. In short, treat them like a person. Okay, that's the tweet we have. I would like to have your reaction to this. Talking about, I talked about compensation the other time, and she also emphasized that if you get a 13th month, like they pay you extra, so should your domestic staff. But do you agree with this?
Well, it's true to an extent, and then also it's not totally true to an extent too, because like I said, you have to put into consideration situation of things. Okay. Everybody's pocket is not the same. Everybody's pocket is not the same, and the job description each person is carrying out in the home is also not the same.
Okay.
So the more the workload, then the more the compensation should come in, the more the rest should come in, and all of that. Personally, now we have clients who don't allow the domestic staff to cook. Maybe they can assist with just maybe preparations, in the kitchen and all, but they don't allow them cook. In fact, they virtually do everything. What the domestic staff just does is clean. And for instance, now, if you're mopping the house, you can't be mopping the house every day. Yeah. Definitely, there are people who will say, okay, I mop twice, I mop thrice a week. And then for the other days, you just sweep my house. That's it. We even have like maybe 30-something clients who will tell you that they don't even allow the domestic staff into their rooms.
Yeah.
Like you can enter any other place, clean every other place, but my room is excluded. I do that myself. You also have people who ask the domestic staff to wash their clothes, and then you have those who dry clean their clothes. So that's why I'm saying that you can't just fix it on a straight line. You have to look at the particular situation on ground. But yes, it's always a welcome idea for you to encourage, your domestic staff, either monetarily or otherwise too. We've had people who even sent them to learn a skill, even while paying them, just to help them out so that by the time they leave, they have something they can fall back on.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, I like the way she rounded off her tweet. She said, in short, treat them like a person. Yeah. All right, thank you.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to give this follow-up question. Because sometimes when we try to talk about domestic workers, people like saying, think about their basic needs. That phrase is used, let's consider the basic needs, as you're just talking about it now. Let's consider them, I want you to tell us the kinds of consideration that you think should be meted on these domestic servants so that they will feel more comfortable and better.
Okay.
Do you get it?
Yes, I understand.
What do you think are such things? Because most of the times the employers do not even think about it that way. They just think whatever they're doing, we are doing the best for them. But still, there's a lot of complaints.
Okay. First of all, if you have a good communication with your domestic staff, and like I said, you give that access to them, you are accessible, they will be able to lodge some complaints, to you. Now, but for their basic needs, I will start with their sleeping. It's always advisable if you can give your domestic staff a particular room, just give them their own space. Yes. It's always the best. Yes, it's always the best. Just give them their own room and also make sure it's a conducive environment. Because most often people will look for the worst room in the house, to give them, or where they have packed all the 1940 photos, and all, and then just push the domestic staff there with a student's mattress and the person is sleeping there. Or some might even subject them to sleeping in the kitchen. So I believe you should look first of all at how they sleep, because there are people who when they sleep in a wrong position, they might fall sick the next day. So always ensure that they are sleeping very well. That's one thing you need to look at now for the domestic staff. And also, you have to look at their feeding. Ensure you're feeding them on time. There are people who might eat like maybe 8 in the morning, or if you have like kids now, you're eating 7:30.
And they'll leave for school?
No, yes. And then the domestic staff is eating around maybe 1:30. Personally, I will always tell people it's wrong. It's wrong. You allow the domestic staff to eat as well, because the human nature, once something begins to build up there, the person begins to see you in a particular light, and any other action you take, just pick it and add up to, okay, she did this on the 25th. Okay, she did this one on the 12th. Okay, she did this one on the 6th. And before you know, the person will now begin to build up, I'll call it a certain level of resentment, toward you. And so these are some of the things that you should do when it comes to handling the domestic staff.
Okay, so before we talk about criteria to look out for before getting the domestic, I would like to take in do you train them how to protect themselves against abuse and exploitation? What do you tell them in that regard?
Okay, one of our rules in my own agency is we tell them that you must report all challenges to us. For instance, now let's put it that we're having the man of the house trying to force himself on you, and you're thinking you're a big girl, you can handle it. We know when it comes to physical strength, the man is stronger than you, and he can overpower you. So it's not in your own place now to begin to see how you can solve the problem. Yes, it's just for you to simply report back to us. There are families where the wife might react differently if she hears the story. So personally, we could use a mail from the company calling the man to man. So this is what we are getting. We don't like that report. What we send to you is a domestic staff, not a second wife. So this is, in fact, we even give them their rules. Any client who comes, you have your rules already. Okay. Yes, so you know that these are the things I shouldn't do with your staff. Keep anything relationship. It should just be, even if the relationship is okay with it, as long as you work in there. Tell you, if you want to have a relationship with a client, please, you leave. Leave the company. Yes, so that it doesn't bring issues to us. Just leave and then go and do whatever you want to do. That's what we always tell them. So that's just one of it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
That's
what about
nice.
abuse?
Okay.
You know, like being, you know, what kind of abuse can, because I don't even know, you know, the definition of abuse can be relative. You know,
Yes,
what you
yes.
think is abuse could be different from what I think
Of
is
course.
abuse. So what are the major kind of abuses report you get, and how do you handle such issues?
Well, you know, sometimes people can, like you said, there are various forms of abuse now. There are those who might go physical. We had a particular case where they slapped one of our domestic staff, which is against our rules.
Oh.
And we didn't hear about it. She didn't report about it. And reasons because the man who slapped her now gave her 50K. You know, so it's not like, okay, maybe she was calculating that that's a very good business venture. So once they give you one slap, 50K. So if you get like 3 in a week, then you're looking like 150,000,
Wow.
which is more than the salary. So maybe that's why she did not report back to the company, you know, and the man just paid her to keep silent because he knew that if he had gotten to us, you know, we would have taken action, you know. So for some of these things now, when it comes to that kind of an abuse, is to report. But when it comes to maybe someone trying to force himself or herself, because sometimes abuse is not just the opposite gender too. Let's put that into consideration. So like the Bible will say, flee.
From
Yes, some of the fleeings have happened as a result of these kind of situations. But you know, someone will now paint the picture, we don't know what happened, she just left.
Okay.
Yes, when someone cannot just handle it, cannot take it, don't have someone they can actually report to, they just leave. You know, it happens like that too. So yes, those kind of things now, you know, this is a tight corner, this is a situation, we will solve it later. But for now, like Joseph did, let me just leave. Even if I'm leaving my jacket, my things, my clothes, let me leave first, yes, and then later we'll solve it.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's talk about criteria. If we are looking out for a domestic staffer,
Okay.
what are those things that you should look out for?
Okay. I will look, first of all, if you're looking out for a domestic staff, what you should consider is compatibility.
Okay.
Look at their personal traits. You need to consider their personal traits. You need to know them. You need to know them. You need to even do a background search or background check on them to ensure that this person doesn't have a criminal record. You know, this person is psychologically and mentally stable, because there are people who cannot handle pressure. There are people who can, once the workload is becoming, you see them begin to act in a very strange way. And also, you should, when looking at, you should look at someone's health. You know, the economy is quite challenging, and you might have someone, for instance, who is asthmatic, and the person is saying, I want to work. But this job now is exposing you to dust, it's exposing you to smoke, maybe it's exposing you to water and all of that. And these things are actually triggers, you know, for your health condition. And you still just want to do the job because of the pay. So it's in your own place that if you're going personally to get someone to do a medical check too on this person, you need to ascertain that this person is healthy and fit for the job before you actually employ this person there. Because you might have, God forbid, but a breakdown, someone breaking down in your house, and then you are well to do, you know, and maybe you just bought a car recently. They will say it's ritual. You have used this person. Our daughter will send to you. Yes, you have used our daughter, you have used our son, you know, for ritual. So you have to be careful, because some people have underlying ailments, you know, but because they are not from well-to-do homes, they are not, you know, we just, any sickness disturbing in an African now is malaria or typhoid. Yes, you just get the drugs and treat. But you don't actually go to run this test and actually check your system. So you need to consider the health. That's very important, very, very important. Like what we recommend is you run hepatitis B, HIV and pregnancy test. Yes, now you can run for STIs and STDs. Now that pregnancy test is very important. I'm laughing
because you've had an experience
yes, where someone will now bring in a growing fetus into your home, and then
my goodness.
you now begin to look at your husband the other eye.
Terrible.
Yes.
And so will do like this.
Yes, and he's like, I don't know what's actually going on here, but but her tummy is growing, you know, and this girl has been with us. So what's happening?
Oh my goodness,
You know?
that would be terrible.
So, yeah, it's actually so you need to ascertain all of these things before you put in the person. The health is very, very important too. Then also you need to understand the person or know the person's family background. You need to know the person's family background and the person's religious belief. I don't know why most times when it comes to picking a domestic staff, people are so, you know, lackadaisical, carefree about it.
Okay.
Like people
About
spend,
religion.
yes, people spend more time in going to purchase things in the market than getting a domestic staff. And that's very dangerous. You know, that's very, very dangerous. Because, like I said, that is your private space. You can be anything. You can be the governor, you can be a senator, you can be a president. But when you come back home, you are just a man in that house. You know, you're just a man in that house. You are exposed, you're vulnerable. Yes. So you need to ensure that whatever transpires, you know, you don't make the mistake of picking a wrong person to your home, because that might be the beginning of the end. Yes.
Go
forbid bad thing.
Go forbid bad thing.
Yeah, you know, as we were talking, I was trying to think about a lot of chores.
Okay.
At home. Sometimes you might need a domestic worker for the kids. The same domestic worker for you have an elder at home to also add and take care of grandma, grandpa. Then you might have somebody that is disabled in the family.
Yeah, the same person doing the whole
person,
thing.
Yes. And other normal house chores, washing of clothes, ironing clothes, just one person. Have you ever had that experience?
Yes.
Is it easy to handle that?
Yes.
And the person also cooks for the entire family.
Yeah, yes, we've seen that.
Cooks for the elderly, cooks for the disabled person, takes the person to the bathroom, bring the person back, now wash and get food for the children. Oh, the children are back. What are they eating? So how can you explain that to us?
Okay, for that now, this is what happens. You know, most people looking at the economy, they feel when I pay, this person should be able to carry out everything.
Everything.
In fact, if they could even bring their parents from the village and give to you, take care of their parents now. It happens like that. Yeah. Now, but this is, what I'll say, like in our own case now, what we do here is we give you a form. So you fill in the job description.
Okay, good.
So we come to a consensus. So it doesn't go beyond what is written there.
Okay.
And if you now are trying to go beyond what we have already agreed upon, then we'll have to renegotiate, you know. And then we need to know if the person who was sent there now can actually handle that. Now we have people who are better off with kids. We have people who are better off with chores. There are people, there are young girls who tell you, sir, if it's up to 3 kids, I cannot handle it. And that's them being honest. Now, domestic staff, it's like a general, like when you're talking about the branches now, you have a maid, like talking about taking care of someone who's elderly or someone who is maybe down with stroke or one ailment or the other. That's a caregiver. You understand? Then now taking care of kids, that's a nanny. So it's always good and right that you have people for the particular job. Yes. We have people who we have like 3 staff now with them in the house. Yes, they have a nanny, they have a cook, you know, and then they have the housekeeper. And that's because, like kids, we saw a case of when a Nigerian celebrity, the child drowned. You know, kids can play. Imagine the domestic staff, or maybe like trying to be the one in the kitchen cooking, and then the kids are playing, and maybe you have a swimming pool around and all, and the person doesn't have eyes everywhere, of course. And so there is every possibility that something can happen to the child without the person's knowledge. And when you come back, you begin to blame the domestic staff. But truth be told, it's incompetence on your own part, because you should have done the needful. Yes.
All right. So let's talk about policies now. I know. Let's talk about, is there some policy changes that should happen, you know, to benefit domestic workers, that you think should happen to benefit domestic workers?
Well, yes, there are a lot of policies that can actually benefit, or that should be implemented that can benefit a domestic worker. But the thing is, it's not just about setting up policies. Are they being implemented? You know, because it's like we have laws. There are some laws in this country now that are not really being implemented. Now, if you check by the Child Act, you know, it's illegal for you to keep someone who's below the age of 18. It's illegal. You can be arrested, you know, and you should pay a fine of about 50,000 or 5 years imprisonment, sometimes both. You know, but between me and you, I am sure you know 1 or 2 persons somewhere who would have people like that. Well, I'm not here to say send them back home or don't keep them, because to be honest with you, some domestic staff are treated better where they are. You know, sometimes people just have so many kids and these kids are just there suffering. So what I'll only implore people to do is to take care of them properly, you know, because if something happens to the child, now that will be on you. In Nigeria now, we don't really have laws for domestic staff. Yes, we rather have international laws, you know, governing that. But for Nigeria, we have not really had laws like that when it comes to domestic staff. So what they just maintain personally is the Human Rights Act, you know. So just things you shouldn't do to any other person. Ensure that they also have their own rights intact too. So those fundamental rights too, you don't begin to infringe on those rights. You just have to allow those things, you know, play. Allow them feel like humans, you know, act like humans, and enjoy their stay too at home. So any other policy coming in, it will really be welcome. You know, it would be really welcome if the government can really do something just to ensure, at least it will also give this boost in morale for domestic staff.
So which one do you think the government should? Do you have anyone in mind you would want the government to implement?
Well, the truth is, I would talk about like pay, a fixed pay.
Okay.
Yes, at least it shouldn't
the
fall
minimum
below.
Wage
yes, a minimum
should be
wage.
Carried out all around.
Yes, it shouldn't fall below this particular amount. Now you can decide to go above that, but it shouldn't fall below this particular amount, because some people would always want to cover up with the fact that I feed this person, you know, so why should I still pay
the
them?
minimum wage?
You know, money has its own power. You know, you can feed a person, you can even buy clothes for the... That's not what I'm looking for, man. If I want to buy clothes, I know where to find clothes, you know. What they want is not just the clothes. They want that money. They just want to see it, you know, or see the account, read. That's what they want. So you need to ensure that you're paying them properly. But most people don't. We've had cases of staff who came to us, and when they came to us, they narrated their ordeal. You know, for a young school leaver, being told you'll be paid 30K by a person and say, come and work with me. And then you work the first month, they pay you. Okay, and the second month, and you didn't see, Junior was sick now this month, you know, you didn't see what happened. And then the other month, I didn't see that my husband's car broke down, you know, and that's how they will now work for like 6 months.
Without pay.
Without pay. And then at the end of the day, after working 6 months, like I'll put it as hard labor, you know, for 6 months, and you're paid only just maybe 1 month. So someone is owing you. So if you should multiply 30,000 times 5, you know how much that is, you know. And for a girl who had hopes, you know, high hopes, you're not paying her, you know, she feels bad and she wants to leave and all. And there are no laws. There's nobody who can report. So what will happen? At the end of the day, the girl just look at you, and if she even has the audacity, she'll just tell you, my God will judge you. This thing you did to me. There is nobody who will say anything whatsoever. So that's why I pointed that first. Yes.
Well, it's a good thing you pointed it out, because we were also talking about it the other day, so many persons say they can't pay their domestic staffers. That's